There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment, and here we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. Are you the owner of a company? Are you the CEO? Are you looking at your P&L going, there just isn't enough here. I wish there was more. I deserve to be wealthy, and I deserve to have a really good team around me and all of those things. And we've got a young lady, but first I've got to introduce my co-host today. Her name is Brachelle, and she's always here with me. Brachelle, how are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. We've had a slow day today, and sometimes the universe sends you what you don't already know you need. But then there's people like our guest today who will tell you the same when it comes to exactly what you said. Would you like to introduce her?
Well, before I do that, I need to say that when Brachelle was a little girl, okay, she's still a little girl, but when she was younger, like 12 years old or so, she used to read books, and she used to read Chicken Soup for the Soul. And she read a bunch of those books. They've sold 80 million copies. And her birthday is a week from tomorrow. And the day before her birthday, we get to have on the show. Would you like to say who we get to have on the show on the 30th at 3 o'clock Pacific time?
Yes. We are going to be able to introduce and do an interview with Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul books, the original author. So that will be something that is, I'm going to have to try to sit still, Kevin. You're going to have to remind me to breathe and tell me to hold still.
Especially if Jack Canfield shows up, I will be nothing short of amazed, because it is Mark Victor Hansen who is going to be here.
Oh, yes. Oh, see, I'm already ready for them both. Both of them. I'm just soaking it up. I can't even get the details right.
So you're manifesting Jack Canfield to show up with Mark Victor Hansen, who are the co-writers of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And I don't put anything past you. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if that happened, because your mental attitude plays a great deal into whether or not you, as Brachelle, you say, whether you believe, if you believe you can, what do you say?
If you believe you can't, you're right. And if you believe you can, you're also right.
And so our guest today is a business coach, and she helps you figure out how to get out of your own way so that you can create the business of your dreams, which, by the way, if you're creating a business in your dream, it was to be successful. And she helps you make that happen. Her name is Christine Valdes, and welcome to the show, Christine. How are you?
Good. I'm great. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Brachelle.
Of course.
It is awesome having you here, because there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of businesses that really believe. Well, no, they must not believe, because if they did, there'd be a whole different outcome. But many businesses would like to be better, but things just happen, and they get in the way. Well, in your experience, first of all, let's begin at the very beginning, not when you were born necessarily, but how long have you been working with businesses and helping them find their way into a better way of being?
Okay, so let me preface that I am still at my W-2. So I currently help the business that I'm in at my W-2 really drive business there. I'm also a real estate investor and entrepreneur. So my husband and I also own a digital marketing company. And I was sitting there one day and someone told me, hey, you should probably help businesses or people build wealth, since you've been able to do it yourself based on your beginnings. And so probably in the last year and a half, I've been talking to a lot of different people on how to do that.
Are you long term? Is your goal to get rid of the W-2? Now, maybe you don't want to answer that because
Just in case they're listening, yeah. Long term, that isn't the goal. That's a good question, because a lot of people who go into entrepreneurship, they say, okay, my goal is to leave my W-2, but I love what I do. I really do love the people that I lead. I love what I do, and seeing people become better at their craft and become better at whatever they want to. When I see that, I don't know, I feel really good about that. And the company I work for, it's a wonderful company, and I don't intend on leaving anytime soon.
You know what's a really cool thing about that is that, and there are times, well, when I was in the restaurant business, it was a W-2 job, but I loved it. And I loved working with people. And so there are times, if you can find your passion and what really makes you happy, then having a W-2 is great. And then augmenting that with things that you're doing in addition to that. Would that be what you're doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, that is awesome. And by the way, I need to tell you this. Burchelle has toyed around with the real estate market from time to time. So, Burchelle, I'd love for you to kind of pick her brain a little bit and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, mainly what was your interest in that, and in total, what was your idea when you set out for it?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I really wanted to have a home. So it's first started with, I wanted to buy a house, and I was a single mom. But I really felt that I could do it as a single mom in San Francisco and buy a house on my own.
Holy crap, really?
Yeah. This is back in, gosh, I think I started the process in like 1999. And I remember I didn't make a lot of income. I was in sales, but I still didn't make a lot of money. I was doing well, but I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. So I started looking for ways to buy a house. So it first started with, how am I going to buy a house with my income? Okay, how much money do I need to save? And everybody tells you got to save 20% to buy a house. You don't need to save 20%. That's the first thing. It's not true. You don't have to, because you can get a first and a second. You can get a first, and because it's just, they tell you to put 20% because they want you to put less money down. They want you to be able to pay less on your mortgage every single month, but you don't necessarily need to do that. So then I said, okay, do I need 20% down? Okay, I'm going to start saving. And then I said, well, there has to be programs out there to help me buy a house. There has to be. I don't make a lot of money. And so I realized as I started researching that there are programs. There are like low income programs. But what's interesting about 1999, low income wasn't what you think, right? You think low income, I'm making less than 25,000. I'm making less than 20,000 a year. Well, the income requirements for low income in San Francisco to qualify for like low income, like a low income package was like under 85,000 or under $75,000 a year. So a lot in California, when new builders build homes, they have to set up a certain number of homes for low income, right? So at the time, I was like, oh my God, I qualify. I think I qualify. I think I can buy a 2-bedroom condo in San Francisco and a high rise, because they were selling for, at the time, I think they were selling for like $1 million, 1.2 or something. And I qualified low income, and I can get it for 400,000. So I was like,
oh, wow.
And so I go, I'm going to fill out the paperwork. I'm going to do this. And I missed it by $10 because I made $10 too much. But then it just opened my eyes to, wow, I can really do this. So I started looking at different counties. I started going, okay, this county here, they offer down payment assistance. They also offer, 10% of the homes in San Jose have to be, designated for people under low income. So Santa Clarita County was like $92,000 low. If you made less than $92,000, you qualified. I mean, it was crazy. There's so many programs out there that people don't know. So that started my whole, just the juices into like thinking like, oh, okay, I can do this. There's like all of this stuff that you can do. And then as you go down that rabbit hole, right, you start realizing that, oh, you can buy a fixer. right? That's right. Yeah, you go down this rabbit hole and you start looking at all this stuff. So now I go, oh, I can get a down payment plan. I can do a low income thing. I can get this down payment plan. I can get this this type of loan to help fix the house. So I don't have to pay for it. And I can buy a fixer. Right. So then I just started, because I kept bidding back in 99. I kept bidding for places and I couldn't win because I was getting beat out by offering more, more for the house or all cash offers. There was just no way I was going to win. So I ended up purchasing, actually with a partner, purchasing a fixer in Oakland and lived in the fixer for 2 years. And back then it wasn't called house hacking. But it was a house hack. You lived in it. You lived in the dust. I remember putting drywall up, screwing in the drywall, holding it with my head on a ladder, granite in the outside, buying the pieces of granite, learning how to cut granite yourself. So it was cheaper, getting discounted windows at the reused store. I mean, there was a whole bunch of stuff that you can do, right, to really lower the cost. And we ended up we sold that house in 2 years and 1 month. So we wouldn't pay capital gains. And I think we made $375,000 on that house.
Oh my goodness.
It's interesting. When I was selling debt dismembered chicken years ago, I was in San Francisco with one of the other sales reps, and we drove by, and he was telling me how expensive stuff was. And we drove by a house. It was a 1-story house on the corner, and the lot was overgrown, and they had bars on the windows. And I said, well, that can't be too expensive. And he said, that's 1.4.
Yeah.
That's over $1 million for that.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of cases, what people would do is they would knock it down and put up what they really wanted. You know what I'm saying? So I applaud you for your intestinal fortitude to be able to do that. But somehow I just can't see you cutting granite.
I did. I was holding the hose, and my partner was cutting the granite. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then the granite would get too hot. Water. You got to put the water on so that the saw doesn't get too hot. I mean, I think the craziest thing was holding up the drywall, and I'm on top of the ladder, and I'm like holding it like this with my head. We're trying to, and then it was crazy. It was crazy. Just all my black clothes had drywall dust all the time because I was in pharmaceutical sales. So I had to look good when I went to sell, but there's always drywall dust, for 2 years. I mean, my daughter and I would go to what are we having for dinner tonight? Chicken nuggets from McDonald's, or what are we having? So it was Boston Market, chicken nuggets, Soup Plantation. It was the same 4 choices.
Yeah, and sadly, most of those are gone now. But
I know.
But Rochelle, can you see yourself cutting granite or putting drywall in?
Oh yeah, I've done a few of those things before. Not necessarily the granite myself. I've watched it be done, which is not the same thing I am saying at all. But you just have this fortitude in you that is momentum that drives you in not having to wait for an answer or wait for the right time. You create these opportunities and you figure it out for yourself. Where does that come from inside of you?
Where does that come from? I think it comes from probably 3 things. Number 1, just seeing my parents. My parents were immigrants. They went through the whole process of filling out the paperwork in the Philippines. They waited 8 years and their name was called, right? And they were able to come here. And so we came over, and my mom and dad came over with $500 to their name, and myself, I was about 1.5 years, almost 2. And then my sister was just born, so they had to leave her in the Philippines, right? So they came over. I remember we were in this time. Well, I remember parts of it. I don't remember a lot from when I was little, but we used to sleep in the same bed. So I would sleep in the same bed with my parents because we didn't have a lot. We had a little studio apartment, but just seeing them with just so little money. And my dad had a really hard time getting a job because he had a thick accent. Mm-hmm. And so even though he had a bachelor's degree, he just couldn't get a job. So he actually worked at Bethlehem Steel in Los Angeles. So he was a steel worker. And just seeing him come home and my mom working And then they decided to buy laundromats. So they invested and bought some laundromats. They ended up having 6 kids. There were 6 of us. And they bought real estate investment. They bought some investment properties, and, they didn't ask people to fix it. They would fix it themselves. So my dad was fixing toilets. I remember every time a unit emptied up, I'm in there painting with him. And so seeing them do all of that was, it was inspirational, but also that became the norm of how you do things, right? And then I think number 2 for me was, I had gone through some difficulty. You make bad choices in your life. And I had gone through some difficulty, and, you just learn how to push through the thinking, the poor thinking to get where you need to go. So, yeah.
Well, and I got to ask you, when you were a little girl and your dad had a series of laundromats, I'll bet you spent time on the weekends making rolls of quarters.
Yes. It was every night, actually. So my dad would go to the laundromat, pick up all the coins, and then he'd come back with the bags, and then we'd be in my mom and dad's bedroom, and it would be me and my mom and my sister, and they pour all the coins out, and we'd sift through all the coins and roll up all the coins so that they can deposit it in the bank the next day. So it was quarters, nickels, pennies, slugs, lots of slugs, dimes, and we would just roll all of that. Yeah, so I know how to roll. I know how to roll really fast.
You got really good, really fast. So I'm willing to bet. And we
was good at sneaking an extra quarter like below my leg too. Money.
So that you could go get some chicken nuggets, which are now like $15 for anyway. So we need to take our first break, and we'll be right back. This is Leslie or Christine. This is about leadership, and I'd love your opinion on this and we'll be right back. Stay with us, everybody. Here are some points to ponder from Positive Talk Radio. Some say leadership is about getting the work done, about pushing forward, no matter the cost. But what's the cost of a team with no purpose? What if a single act of support, a single moment of genuine grit could change everything? What if leadership was a catalyst? Because true leadership isn't about being in control. It's about empowering others to find their purpose. It's about leading with passion and igniting the fire in everyone around you, creating a culture of teamwork and common purpose. A true leader finds this culture by enthusiastic purpose and team development, making each team member feel empowered to create, improve, and execute their tasks with genuine passion and a strong belief in the company's mission and focus. In other words, lead with purpose. Welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald. Brichelle is right there. And Brichelle, if we want to contact Christine, how do we do it?
Yes, you can go to christinevaldes.com, which is super simple. She's got her homepage about what she has to offer and who. And then there's a little tab called Let's Connect. That's where you would go. And don't be afraid. She's actually kind of cool. She don't bite. I do, but she doesn't.
So Christine, what did you think of that piece on leadership?
I love it. Yeah, it really gets to the heart of what it is. Yeah, for sure. I love it.
Why do you think it is that so many leaders don't know what good leadership is?
They don't know what good leadership is because maybe they haven't seen it in action. Right. I think some people become leaders. In my industry, in sales in general, sometimes people become leaders because they're good in sales, not because they're good at being a leader. So the second thing is first thing, they haven't seen good leadership. Number 2, it's a different skill. Being a good leader is a completely different skill than being a great salesperson. And so they haven't learned all those skills. And then number 3, sometimes leaders are more into the identity of being a leader, more into the title of being a leader versus being a leader to serve the people that they lead. And so they just become I mean, I was there when I first became a leader. I remember I didn't think I was. And then I realized after that, that title was a big deal to me. And, you know, I became the title, not the leader. So I think those are the three reasons.
Yeah, when I was in sales, I was a food salesman, and they would always, when a district sales manager job came up, they would always pick the best salesperson to go, the guy with the best numbers, to go become the district sales manager and have 11 reports. But many times they did not understand because sales came easy to them.
Mhm.
And but so they didn't understand why somebody would ever have a problem with it. This sales is easy. You should be able to just and so they would struggle as a leader because they weren't able to put themselves into the shoes of somebody who didn't have those skills yet, and then begin to teach them those. Is that kind of part of the issue?
Yeah, yeah, because when you're a leader, right, you're stewarding that what leadership to your people, right? So you're trying to build confidence in your people, right? If you're good at sales, it's only about you. It's about you and the numbers. But when you're a leader, it's about you helping the people that you lead get the numbers.
Yeah.
And so when you're a leader, you have to build, number one, the confidence in your people. You can't keep just pushing numbers if they don't have confidence in themselves. Then you have to build, number two, their capabilities, right? It's will and skill, but a lot of people don't have the skill. So you can't really count on them hitting the metrics if they don't have the capabilities. And then finally, you know, you have to be clear on what you want them to do, right? And when you haven't led, it doesn't come out clear all the time because it's coming from, I want you to hit the numbers a certain way, right? I want you to hit the numbers the way I hit the numbers. And it's not clear to them because they're not you. So, you know, a lot of times leaders miss those things. They miss that confidence, building the confidence, the capability, and the clarity with their people because they just don't know how to do it.
It's all, in some cases, it's all about the name tag that I get to wear. Like in the restaurant business, when I'm the general manager, it'll say, or your picture or your plaque is on the front of the restaurant.
Mhm.
The general manager's name is. That's pretty cool when you walk into the building and that's your plaque is up front, and I'm, you know, it's a very egocentric position to put yourself into, but
Yeah.
that's not what it's about. It's
No,
about making the least among us the best among us, and
exactly.
then all what is it? What do they say? Rising water floats all boats. Is it, Rochelle? Is that close?
I think so. It makes sense to me.
Well, good, because if you take my goal was always to take the least talented member of the team and make them the most talented member of the team, which created competition between everybody else because they wanted to be and so it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Is
Mhm.
that kind of some of the things that you teach? Is that kind of how?
Yeah, and the goal is always to leave the situation better than I came, or to leave the people that I lead better, right? So that's always the goal, right? So it's not, you know, I look at before I used to look, because when you first become a leader, you're into the title, you're looking at success as outcomes. But I look at success now as impact, right? Have I been able to build up these people? Have I been able to make a difference in the way they work? Have I been able to make the situation better, you know, and help the people be more, right? Because if they can leave you better, then they're going to always be better wherever they go. So yeah, that's how I approach it for sure.
You know, Rochelle, it's also the ripple effect.
Mm.
Because when you have a happy team and everybody's doing well, they, for whatever reason, don't go home and kick the dog nearly as often. And so they're happier, and their wives or husbands are then just a little happier, and maybe their kids are happier. And maybe, so, Rochelle, is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you change yourself, you change the way you function. Therefore, your surroundings and the way that you perceive it also changes. And I love, Christine, how you lead by example. You're not running around an organization or trying to talk to one specific person, putting all this pressure saying, don't do this and do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's, let me give you an example, and let's figure out what works for you, because would you agree to say that because every human is different, there isn't a right or wrong way necessarily to teach somebody into that skill, without just being example and putting down guidelines necessarily, without trying to kind of keep them in a box type of thing like we do.
You can't, like, especially in sales, and Kevin, you've
Yeah.
been in sales too. Everybody, I've seen successful salespeople that are very different. You know,
Mhm.
one's very mathematical, one's very scientific, one's gregarious and enthusiastic. And it's just, you know, they're all very different, but they've all been successful. They've all been at the top of the leaderboard. And so you can be a successful salesperson being true to yourself. But also you don't have to be like the gregarious, enthusiastic salesperson that you think that the best salespeople would be, right? So yeah, if you're true to yourself and you use these skills or the talents that you have, yeah, you can definitely be successful in any type of role.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something that is entirely inappropriate and sexist, but I worked with, and speaking of using your talents and using your gifts, I worked with a very, very pretty young lady who was a sales rep, and the boss came to her and said, "Oh, the country club, we screwed up their order big time, and it's not right. He is madder than I've ever seen anybody when I talked to him on the phone." And she said, "Don't worry about it. I'll just wear the red dress and go sit on his desk. Hey, he'll be fine."
Not good advice, but if you are someone else, watch out for her. Don't follow that example.
No.
No, but in her world, in her mind, she was using her gifts,
Yeah.
to get a desired result, whatever that desired result was. In this case, getting him to calm down, and and stuff. I'm sorry, I don't know what made me say that. Just
You know, I know many, not many. I know some that use their gifts. Some female sales reps that use their gifts that way. Unfortunately, it sends the wrong message sometimes, and so gets them in not great situations. So
gets them into a bit of trouble. And stuff. So, but and I was always a real gregarious kind of guy and happy-go-lucky, and I don't know where I got that from, Rochelle. Where do you think?
I think your soul just lives to be that way. Your energetic self is completely that. And as we're talking about this too, you can't, when you hold a certain energy in a space, you are that's what you're giving out, right? So like, let's say Christine, you walk in and you just decide, you know what, today's not the day that I feel in myself that you know, I'm gonna lead this way or that way. But holding those same expectations for yourself without sheltering it in a box, right? Yeah, you can maybe be sad one day. Maybe you're a little upset. Maybe you didn't sleep, whatever happened. But when you present yourself in that space, you're allowing yourself to still be as you are, and aware of your energy, but not necessarily fake about it, which allows other people the space to do the same, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're yourself and you just I've had people come up to me, they said, "I really appreciate you." And I said, "Thanks." Why? Why do you appreciate me? What did I do? And they say, "I appreciate you because you make me feel," what they've said is, "You make me feel comfortable being who I am and just being me, and I feel no judgment." So I think that's good, because that's what I hope for too. I hope that they feel that they can be themselves and they can speak openly without any judgment. And yeah, sometimes the feedback isn't positive, it's negative, but I'll take it as it is, and we'll work towards a positive outcome for wherever we're at. Yeah.
You know, that is maybe one of the highest compliments a leader can have, and to get when somebody says that to them. Congratulations, that's a big deal.
Thank you. I know. I try not to. I just, I'm like, Christine, don't get a big head. It's only like 3 days where I have a big head, and then I'm okay after that.
Yeah, but sometimes when you do a good job, do you need to appreciate who you are because of
Yeah.
the good job that you did.
Yeah, I do. I do need to appreciate
And by the way, leadership is not easy, and
No.
it takes a lot of work to be able to do it consistently and to do it really, really well. I used to tell sales reps, if I said when we were going to do cold calling,
Mhm,
and you know what cold calling is,
I've done
and oh, of course, well, every
Real
salesperson
estate
does
is
cold.
cold calling.
Yes, but I said, "Are you in the mood to cold call today?" And he said, "I don't feel it." And I said, "Well, go home." And he said, "What?" And I said, "Well, if you're not going to do it well, don't do it." And but the caveat here is, if you don't do it too often, I'm going to fire you.
Yeah,
So you better figure out how you like it,
yeah.
because that's a major part of the job. And he ended up going out that day. So anyway, but we're talking with Christine Valdes and Brichelle. Her website again is.
Yes, ChristineValdez.com. She's got all the information there and makes it so easy to get in reach with her. So get curious. It's pretty cool stuff.
And if you would like to figure out how to make money either in real estate or as a leader or a corporate leader, I would call her, because I think that she's very talented at what she does. And when we come back from this break, Brichelle's got an amazing question to ask you. No pressure at all, Brichelle. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin, and Brichelle is right there, and Christine Valdes is right there. And Brichelle, I know you have a remarkably gifted question to ask Christine right now.
Well, the first thing that came to my mind is, don't you think that leadership is not just a tool that we should be using in workplaces and spaces, but rather in life?
Yeah, I think we should. I think we lead without authority all the time.
Yes.
You don't have to have authority to be a leader,
Mhm.
right? So even amongst your friends, you can still lead and present yourself in a certain way and be a leader without having a title, right? Because we affect everybody who we're around. We influence people we're around. Most of us don't know the type of influence we have on our friends and on some of the people that are around us. I mean, we just don't realize it. You think you're saying one thing, it's not a big deal, but then that friend or that person takes it as truth and then they run with it, right? So yeah, we're leading without authority all the time. How we present ourselves when we go into a store and we smile and we say hello to the people that are working there. They could be in a bad mood, because I've had a lot of people in a bad mood, right? But you just still, if you're happy, that transfer of energy, you're leading by transferring that positive energy to somebody else.
Yep.
Maybe they just needed that smile that day. Maybe they needed that note on the receipt that says, "Have a great day. Here's an extra tip," right? Maybe they just needed that "You look so great today. I love your smile." Like, maybe they needed that day and that just passes on. And so I just believe we have a responsibility as well to lead and lead without authority.
Well, and another thing that's coming to mind is, in a leadership role, there's so much going on.
Mhm.
How do you keep yourself present with everything that's moving around you all the time and other people in their situations?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that demand. And as a leader, there's always a lot of people demanding your time. I
Yeah.
would say the leaders that are like the middle management, especially where I am, like middle management, I feel like we have a lot more than
Yes.
upper management because we don't have the assistants, we don't have the extra people, the extra staff. So we're having to manage all of that, our calls, our travel, everything ourselves. And so what I try to do is when I am talking to someone on the phone or when I have a meeting, I try to be completely present. So, not checking my phone. I turn my phones over. So I actually have two phones. I turn them over. And it's funny because people go, "Oh my God, I couldn't get hold of you." But and the reason why is because I have my phones turned over because I'm trying to be present when I'm talking to them on the phone, when I'm talking to them in person. And when the phone is turned up, it catches my attention all the time. And my monkey brain goes, "Oh, what's that? Who texted me?" And you just don't realize how, I don't want to say rude, but when you're talking to someone and they pick up their phone and they look at their text messages, how distracting that is and how it makes the other person feel
Yeah.
when you're not fully paying attention. So I think the biggest thing is to be fully present when I'm with my folks, for sure. And I know my husband doesn't like that because sometimes he texts me and he doesn't get a response for hours. I'm sorry.
Well, my next question then, I lastly have to ask you, what is your favorite leadership tool and why?
Ooh, my favorite leadership tool. I would say one tool that I put into place when when I was younger or as an early leader, I thought everything was urgent. So I would really try to make, and as a leader, a lot of times you don't have all the information to make a decision, but you have to make a decision quickly, right? Because they're like, "Oh, sense of urgency, sense of urgency." But what I try to do is really try to make decisions, even try to make like those decisions, even when the information isn't clear. I try not to do it out of urgency or fear. Because before, when I was early in my career, I would do it out of urgency or fear. And
Mhm.
when that happened, I wouldn't make the right decision. So that's the first thing. When I make decisions, number two, I try to quiet all the noise. So there's always emotions. Sometimes you get a really bad email and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to respond to this right now and I'm gonna tear them apart on email," right? And so there's that's like, you want to just early in my career, I would spar on email. I don't do that anymore. So really try to quiet that noise, those emotions, those opinions, those comparisons, whatever comes to mind. I try to quiet that. Sometimes I don't respond to the email, I walk away. So if I don't have to send a message today, I will sleep on it and let my emotions calm down before I
A
send.
very wise plan. That's from personal experience on my part.
Walk away. Do not respond right away. So I have learned to really find methods to quiet that. And then finally, when I make decisions, I really try to choose based on my values, not on convenience. Because there have been many moments where reacting quickly was easier than responding intentionally. So I learned to slow down. I learned to, visualize what could possibly happen. And then I ask myself now, what decision aligns with who I want to be long after this moment passes?
Because those emails don't go
They
away.
don't go away. They don't go away. Even text messages don't go
Yes.
away. So,
Yeah.
yes, you have to like think about, okay, if I respond like this today, is that how I want to be perceived, or is that how I want to be known as, or is that really aligning with my values? Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that's been, I think as a leader, has been one of the biggest things because I was hot on the emails trail for a long time.
Well, and it makes you feel good in the moment
In the moment.
until the next day when they say you sent this email anyway. But I wanted to ask you because many of us spend our career building our career.
Mhm.
And we work a lot of hours and we're dedicated to it, But the one thing that we miss, and you say this in your website, and I wanted to touch bases with you on this, is we don't build wealth
Yeah.
at the same time. And the other thing is, and you also say this, when you're building a career, for some reason, you're working a lot of hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to build wealth, but you don't have any time. Time
Mm-hmm.
becomes a premium for you because you don't have any of that because you're building your career.
Yeah.
How do you help somebody come into balance with all of that?
So first of all, you have to know what type of wealth you want to build, right? So you have to have an idea. Like, do you want to buy a bunch of houses? Do you want to have a net worth? Like, what do you want to? What does that look like to you? Because wealth to everybody looks different, right? So what does that look like to you? And then so you get your baseline. And then after that, if the goal is to I want to build wealth, then how do you want to do that? I want to buy a house. Okay, let's look at how you're spending your money. let's look at, because I know for me, I spent a lot of money on crap. I bought a lot of stuff. There was a period my husband and we had our house and we were at the mall every single weekend. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I go into this Apple store another time this weekend to look at stuff, and I remember I was getting panicked going, oh my gosh, we're making so much money, but there's no saving. Like there wasn't a lot of saving happening because we were just so really taking stock of how you're spending your money and where do you want to put it and how so now, like for us, and if I was working with someone that wanted to like save more money, it was like looking at, okay, where are you saving your money? Do you have the extra income? And then placing that money elsewhere versus in the stuff that you're buying, in the cars that you're buying, right? And really reallocating. So like my husband and I now, we don't really do a lot of, we spend, but we don't spend like we used to. A lot of that money goes into our investments. So I think for the people that want to work with me, really setting the stage of where they want to go, number one, and then number two, just, okay, whatever it is, then we'll build a plan around that.
I have a relative.
Mm-hmm.
And as the relative has increased his income, and he married somebody who had an equal income, and they had suddenly, it was like, gosh, you guys are swimming in money. And a year later, they were broke. And it's because of the concept of rising. The toys that he bought now were a lot more expensive, but he was still buying toys. Do you find that happens to a lot of people, that they look at how much money they're making and they're going, I can buy this for just $300 a month, and for 10 years at 22% interest,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Do you help people kind of figure out that that's probably not the best way to live?
Yeah. It's a mindset thing too, because a lot of times I did that too. I was just like, we made more money, we spent more money. We just spent to what we made, right? You just do that. And then you don't realize it. And it's almost like a mindset, because you're like, you have the money that you never had before. And so you're like, you're so excited, especially if you didn't grow up with a lot of money. And then all of a sudden you have a lot of money. It's just so enjoyable to be able to buy whatever you want. And so it's just finding a way to break that. And because you're trying to fulfill something that you never had, and you're filling that void, right? And so really seeing that and getting yourself out of it, and not trying to feel like because you buy all this stuff that you're going to feel good. Like you don't need to buy a $90 lipstick. Like you don't need a $90 lipstick. There's no reason for that, right? It isn't that much better when you look at the ingredients. It's just a different color. So Kevin, I know.
There's such a thing as $90 lipstick?
Yes, there is.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see in my brain is like, do you know how many things you could buy with that other $90 instead of lipstick?
Yeah.
What the hell's a $90 lipstick?
I don't know. Look, I'll give you an example. My daughter, we would give her an allowance, right? So when she was little, we started giving her an allowance, but we never really bought her a lot of stuff, just the stuff that she needed. So when she got her first allowance, which was $5, We let her go to Target, buy anything you want for your $5. And she bought a lip gloss, a $5 lip gloss. We're like, what? What? A $5 lip gloss? And so it's the same thing, right? It's kind of like, oh my gosh, I never had this money before. And now I get to buy whatever I want, not realizing that it was just a lip gloss. So
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I used to tell this relative that I have, a little discipline. But when he was a little kid, he would get his allowance at like 11 o'clock in the morning. By 1 o'clock, it was gone every week. And I said, if you save a little bit, you could have money to spend tomorrow. And he said, I know, but I just can't keep it in my pocket. And that pattern has played out for the last 30 years. So
yeah, it's a hard pattern to break. I'll tell you too what we did with my daughter. For those of you that have kids out there, we actually taxed her allowance. So I said, sorry, we taxed her state and federal taxes. And so she would have to calculate, because she got up to $9 a week. And so we would have her calculate her state and federal taxes, the percentage of whatever the taxes were out of her allowance. And that's what we would give her at the end and then she would have to tithe the first 10%. So then whatever she got, she would have to tithe the 10%. And then that's what she had. So.
Did she get a tax return?
No.
That's what I'd be waiting for. I'm like, oh, okay.
The merits though, because we had to go apart every time she had a tantrum or she had an attitude, we'd like deduct, like she would get like a demerit on the refrigerator. Oh, there's a tantrum, and that would take away from her allowance. So yeah.
That's actually that's brilliant. We need to take a quick break. And Rochelle, I don't think you've seen this yet, so I wanted to play this real quick. And we're going to be right back with Christine Rochelle, who are we talking to?
Christine Valdes. Visit her website, which is hername.com, and check it all out. And we'll be right back.
And I was just kidding. You're delightful, by the way. So we'll play this and we'll be right back. Talk about your leadership style a little bit, because that's pretty important.
It is. I'm definitely a cheerleader. I lead only with positivity. I don't lead with an iron fist, and sometimes it gets me in trouble. I trust people to a fault, and that definitely gets me in trouble, but I'm not changing that because I like that feeling. You got to get them to believe in themselves. If you come down on them, it doesn't do anybody good.
And welcome back. And Rochelle, if we wanted to go to Christine's website, it would be
Christine Valdes. That's VALDES.com. She's got it all there. Christine, do you have anything coming up that you are super excited for that is new for you?
Yeah, actually, I just did. Now it's not, I guess it is for me. I actually just did a course. I have to finish all the courses on building my AI clone. Yeah. You guys are shocked. I'm going to build my own clone of myself, an AI clone. And this company is actually looking for potential investors. So I'm thinking about investing in the company. So yeah. That's what's coming up for me.
What are you going to do?
I need one.
What are you going to do if you build your clone and it turns out to be smarter than you?
It won't, because it won't have all of my information in there. Because when you build your AI clone, you're taking a photo, and then you're taking your voice, and then you're giving it a script, and then it creates whatever you create. Now, if I was building my brain in AI, that would be a little bit different. And people are doing that now.
Oh my Lord.
So yeah. Fascinating.
They're building their brain in AI.
They're putting all their information in AI, and it becomes your brain, all of your information is in there. Yeah.
Do you think that
I would
AI
fight that bot?
Go ahead and say that again, Rochelle.
I would fight that robot, the AI, whoever it was. We wouldn't get along. It would be disastrous. But you just mentioned something very, very important, and that is investments. Mm-hmm. What advice could you give to somebody who is interested in starting investments but doesn't know a damn thing about it?
Yeah, you need to learn about what you want to invest in. Most of us know about for our 401ks if you're with big company. Most of us, want to invest in stocks but don't know a lot about stocks, right? So we rely on our financial planner to help us invest in stocks. So, but I still feel like people should know about what they're investing in, right? If you're doing stock, you should know a little bit about it, right? Don't just rely on your financial planner. But you got to decide what you want to invest in. Do you want to invest in real estate? Do you want to invest in apartment buildings type of real estate? Do you want to invest in companies? You have to learn about it. And there's a lot of free videos on
yes.
on YouTube. There's books. I wouldn't just rely on one or two videos because some of the videos have a lot of opinion in there, which is, opinion. So you have to go to the books and you have to do a lot of learning. So that's the first thing. And then number two, surround yourself with people who are doing it, right? So people who are actively doing it, who have actively done it. You become the 5 people who you spend the most time with, right? And what do they say? Your income is the 10 people you spend the most time with. You take the 10 people, take an average, and that's your income. So, if you start to
So that means Brochelle's going to be poor her whole life.
No. Yeah, I love my poor people, but I'm the 10 though. That's a little freaky. I'm like,
I did it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so true. Every single time I do it. Yeah. Do it.
I'm gonna go make some $1 billion friends, and then we'll see where I'm at in 30 days.
Well, and it's not like you're trying to make friends with them because they're $1 million friends. It's because if they've done it, then they've gone through the lessons of making bad choices, learning how to do it, and so they can teach you, or they can share knowledge with you, right? Like, for example, like my husband and I, we invested in a multifamily. We just lost on a deal. They weren't able to manage the multifamily right, and we lost $100,000 on that. So it was one of our first investments. So we know a little bit more now as we've gone through. So the other investments we've made in multifamily are doing well, but that first one, right, was our first decision into multifamily, so we didn't know as much. But now, yeah, we can definitely make better decisions if we're going to look at an operator for multifamily, and if it's a syndication, who's the operator, how long have they been doing it, what type of loan is it, what type of collateral, what's the equity stack, all of that stuff we know because we've been through it. And so getting yourself around people who speak to it, who know about it and speak about it, it widens your mind, and it just gets you to understand the terminology. So I would say those two things.
I have some advice for everyone, and I want you to know if you agree with this. When somebody walks up to you and says, "Psst, I've got a deal. There's a stock, and it's about ready to explode." And in this case, he said, "Do you remember GameStop?" And GameStop was overbought, and then it went through the roof, and I was part of that. And this is going to happen again, and it's going to happen to a movie theater chain, and this person happened to be my son, and he said, "I'm going to be able to retire on." And the first thing is never listen to your son's advice. That's my. Secondly, never buy the stock that he says he's going to retire on, because I bought that stock and it was at $14. I figured it wasn't that high. I didn't buy very much of it, and I sold it at $4.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I sold it, it was like, well, here's $1.50. There you go. And so you got to be careful, and you've got to only invest in things and if you don't follow stuff, invest in something that is safe. The return's not going to be as much, I don't suppose, but in your case, see, you do the research, and research is key, isn't it?
Yeah, research is key, and it takes a lot of extra time, right? So I'm working all week. I work a little bit on the weekends. I'm doing research on the weekends. I'm doing all sorts of other stuff. So it feels like, yeah, I'm working a lot, but I have to do the research and I have to make sure it's a right investment. So like, for example, we just invested in a startup female tech company. But we're investing in that company, my husband and I, because we know the operators. The operator has built another tech company before, she built it up to 50 million. So we know her track record. And the company currently is making a couple $1 million a year already. So looking at the numbers, looking at the market, you do a lot of research, looking at the competitors, there's always going to be risk, but you have to do your research on not only the industry, not only the competitors, but also the people who are in the investment, who's going to be running it. So,
Right.
And Christine, I've got this media company that I think is a really hot deal, and no, we haven't made any money yet, and no, we don't have any prospects. But will you invest in me anyway, please? Oh, please. No.
that's how it sounds sometimes, though.
Yeah.
I know.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Even coming into real estate the first time for me, I remember hearing, well, you go into business just in general, and you hear a lot of times that the higher the risk, the higher the outcome.
Mhm.
And it if you don't set your ducks up in a row, that risk, as it could have been positive, will flip on you the other way. And then you're frustrated. You don't know how to get out. You see it as a failure rather than something that you're learning from.
Mhm.
Which you've probably figured out 100 million times, just maybe not how to do something until you got it right. But you never looked at it as a failure, did you?
No. Well, in the beginning, when you're younger and you still don't have like your identity set,
Yeah.
right? You still don't know who you are. Yeah, you take some of those things as failures, and then you get down on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but they're not, right? As you start to, as time goes, and you're like, oh, that really wasn't a failure. I'm still here. It's not the end of the world. I'm still, you realize that it was just a learning. And so you start to pick up all these things and go, okay, what did I learn from that? And some people would be like, oh my gosh, you lost $100,000. Yeah, I guess I wasn't as upset as most people would be, because I knew the risk that I was taking. My husband and I both did. We knew what happened to the real estate, the multifamily market over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We knew there was a possibility we were going to get hit.
And your identity wasn't tied to that money.
No, our identities weren't tied to the money. Our identities are in the Lord, and that's where we're at. And so, yeah, it is what it is. Money is, the way I look at money is money is easy to get. Like before, I didn't believe that. Like, oh gosh, I have no money. But to me, like my view of money is it's easy to get. If you really need money, there's a lot of money out there.
Yeah.
Well, let me explain how that works, because you believe you can, you do.
Mhm.
Most people believe that money doesn't grow on trees, young man, and it's very hard to make a lot of money. But if you believe you can, then the barrier's removed,
Yeah.
and you can.
Yeah.
But just don't do something stupid like bet on a company like can you imagine that, hey, I got a really hot deal. There's this video store that is it's called Blockbuster, and it's going to be big. It's going to be, and then it goes out of business, and you lose everything. So, Christine, thank you so much. You've been delightful.
Oh, you're welcome.
you.
This was a lot of fun, you guys.
And Brachelle, she does such a
Yes.
good job at taking us out of the show. So, where'd you go? Uh-oh. She decided to leave early, apparently. So, for those of you that are just listening to this on audio, Brachelle lost her connection suddenly, right when we were going to go into the ending, which she does so well. But you'll never know that because she's not here. So I'll do it. ChristineValdez.com is where you go, and we'll learn all about her and what she does. She's a delightful human being. She will not steer you wrong. She will help you achieve whatever it is that you want and be a better leader. She can help you with that. You want to make more money? She can help you with that. You want to invest properly? She can help you with that. And she can help you with your mindset. I think that's your biggest asset, is helping somebody with their mindset.
I agree. Absolutely. Mindset's the biggest thing.
Mindset, as it turns out, is everything. And surprise, here's Michelle back.
Just kidding. Thank you so much, Christine, for spending this time with us. I can't wait to see where your journey takes you. If you need anything, people, you have questions, you have concerns, you need some help, go get that help from Christine at her website, christinevaldes.com. And I hope to see you again soon. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that you would like to add before we go? You get the last word, Christine.
I would like to add that you guys, you can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. If you have that dream or that desire to do something, all of the opportunities are in front of you. Sometimes we just don't see it, but all of the opportunities are right there for you to grab. So you guys can do it.
Amen.
Absolutely. Except in my case, I can't grow hair. But that's beside the point.
Believe you can, and you're right.
It will come.
And
you never know.
All right. So we'll look at it, and I'll let you know if I'm getting new sprouts up there or not. So Christine, thank you so much. Go to christinevaldes.com and find out all about her. And Rochelle, you've been delightful. Thank you again for being on the show and doing the show, because you're the host now. Did you know that?
We can share it together. Thank you, Kevin, for making this possible. And remember, everybody, that if you can't believe in yourself right now, we believe in you. You're worth it. Go test it out.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got.